Found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Shayna.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and he scores. Still Glenn Wheeler. Wednesday. Is the tie for a winner.
Hello, welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. This is Extra Time, where we going to talk about Danny Röhl. Remember him, Matt? Danny Röhl. We're also going to be talking about like kind of a bit of a question more than anything else, whether this kind of short-term pain is going to give us some long-term gain. You know, is our downfall good for the long term of being a Sheffield Wednesday football fan? Matt, first of all, that was fun, weren't it, on the main pod when the just seeing the panic. Well, actually, that's the point. You didn't see any panic because you couldn't see me. That was the whole problem when the camera just absolutely shit its pants, and then I'm like thinking, "Fuck." Just for context as well. So for quite some time, I've been using a MacBook, loads of things plugged into it. So that setup that you saw, if you was watching, that was the same setup. However, now I've bought a Mac Mini, so it's just the idea being it's not putting that much stress on a laptop, and it's all being run via one actual computer. That was the plan anyway. However, obviously on the MacBook, it has a webcam. I didn't use the webcam. We always using a separate camera. But every time this happened, I just clicked on the settings and just chose the other camera, and it just worked, and that's fantastic. However, not really got that luxury, seeing as though, in effect, a desktop computer does not come with a webcam. So I was, I didn't really know what to do there. I did think of just being a blank screen and just talking, but I was like, no, I'll get get my MacBook up, and then forgot that obviously nothing is now plugged into it, and I'm using the absolutely god awful, built-in microphone from the actual laptop itself. But when I'm finished, I will be going on Amazon and I will be buying a webcam that I can just put on top of the screen. Hopefully never use it. And you know what? At some point, I think the camera will go off. I think it's overheating or something.
Yeah.
A bit like our players this season, they'll just be getting a bit jaded and just like giving up and things like
done.
that. But
82 minutes done.
That's what it's going to be. Couldn't even finish a full 90. Bit like us against Swansea. Fell apart after 80 minutes. Conceded a second, and that was
wanted to bring a sub on, wanted to bring a webcam on, couldn't do it, could we? Haven't got the facility, haven't got the players.
Didn't trust it. Didn't trust the webcam to bring it on. Ain't got the legs, ain't got the experience, and everything else. So no, I was
big fan, by the way, in the comments of Craig saying can't hear you. Big fan, and then Daz has put audio has been promoted.
Yeah, audio. Well, it's not been promoted. I just brought it back in, but it will go off at some point, I'm sure. I have got a contingency plan. I found which cable it is I need to unplug and plug into the laptop. Whether or not that just brings everything else down at the same time, I have no idea. But this is not an IT show. It's actually the Extra Time, but we do go on various tangents. So if you are a first-time listener of said Extra Time show, it's a little bit more light-hearted. We tend, obviously there's been no football from a Sheffield Wednesday standpoint this weekend, but we tend to talk about things that aren't to do with the what's been happening over the weekend. So we are going to be talking about the interview that Danny Röhl did with the Times, and as I mentioned, we'll talk about kind of a bit bigger question. Is it actually good for us, this? It doesn't feel like it right now. I know it feels like horrendous and one of our lowest points, but is that going to be better for us moving forward? Danny Röhl, like I said, spoke to the Times. The headline that they went with was, "I went days with no sleep keeping Sheffield Wednesday up." It's a fairly lengthy article that they've put out there. What do you make to it? Because he's been fairly silent, hasn't he? Recently, he's put a few stuff on Instagram. For those people that don't know, Danny Röhl was our manager previously. I know quite a lot of people have forgotten about him or tried to forget about him, but he was regarded as one of our better managers that we've had in Sheffield Wednesday's existence. But yeah, people calling him a snake and all things, sort of things now. But no, what do you make to it? For the reason why he's come out and now started talking again.
We were saying just before coming on, James, there's only one reason why he's opening his mouth, and it's because he wants a job. That's the reason why he's opening his mouth, is because it's nicest will in the world. It's a takedown piece on the owner, which the owner deserves it. Like, full credit to him. Like, give him both barrels. Like, he needs to let people know how difficult the situation was at Sheffield Wednesday and how difficult it was to chew his leg out of that bear trap. But that's what it is. It's a takedown piece, and it's positioning himself for his next move. It's not closing the door on any jobs in England.
There's a piece that says it was around the Hull game where we lost to a very late goal. We couldn't pay the salaries and wages. The communication was not what I expected, and they were all the small things. I thought myself and asked myself, what could happen in the summer? ? Do I have the conviction we can make the next step? He also says, I tried to speak with the club to see if there was a dialogue, and when there wasn't, I had to take a decision. And then he says, once the club refused to discuss his future, he pushed unsuccessfully for an early departure, wanting to avoid a summer of uncertainty for himself and the club. I think that was pretty evident, weren't it, to be fair? And I think he's clearly, obviously, got into a situation where he thought, this is not what I'm kind of used to at other football clubs. This is not what I want. And he wants to, he clearly, well, obviously hoping that he was going to end in a different way than what he did. But yeah, this is nothing new, really. What he's coming out with, it's not no revelations in there, is there? It's kind of what we already knew and kind of thought of before, really.
Yeah, and also the other thing is, fundamentally, you can take this man at his word, because this person has no reason to lie to anybody. Like, Danny Röhl has no reason to lie to any Sheffield Wednesday fan. Like, you can actually take him at his word. A lot of what was been said in there is stuff that we know. For example, the stuff to do with booking and paying for travel. He talks about that in the article. Everybody, it seemed over time, and obviously a lot of Danny Röhl's wanton departure, it doesn't change my view. He should have turned up for pre-season training. Like, it doesn't change my view on that. He behaved poorly in that particular regard, but everything else I don't blame him for. And ultimately, time, I think, with Danny Röhl for certain sections of the fan base will be a big healer, in terms of they'll recognise that this was a manager who, again, we've said it multiple times, right place, wrong time. Had he been given the right tools, he talked about the ambitions of himself as a manager there, and he was always very open about it as a Sheffield Wednesday manager. He said, I'm a manager who wants to manage at the top level. We were the club that he hoped to, whilst he was in charge here, we were the club who he hoped to do that with. We mentioned this at the time when all of this started, James. If the club was run right, we wouldn't be having this discussion, would we? We'd be having a discussion currently about Sheffield Wednesday being in the top six.
Yeah, he's also hit out, I suppose, fans really, by saying, he said, just a small example, we played Plymouth on Saturday and Norwich on the Tuesday. I worked on Monday over the whole night, didn't sleep to prepare for Norwich. He says, if someone speaks about my attitude, that something's changed, it's completely wrong. What changed in the second half of the season was not me, but the mood of the club. Obviously, that's in response to a lot of people saying that he downed tools. That Southampton came along and he just, basically, wanted to leave and packed it all in, which I suppose if someone's questioning you on that sort of thing, it will does hurt. If that's simply not true, which he's saying it isn't, it kind of provokes you to kind of say something. Really, it must hurt when someone's saying that you jacked it in when, like he's saying, he didn't even go to bed. One particular, I think it was one. He mentions about something about Chris Powell, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning or something, that he'd sent him a message or something like that. And he's still working.
I mean this very nicely, James. I don't need the semantics of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to see how the cake is. As a supporter, I don't need to see how the cake is. Well, I do now because of the fucking shit show that we're in. But when things are running well, I don't need to know how the cake is made. I just want to eat a nice cake. Like, he talks about that because the Plymouth game and then the Norwich game were back to back, weren't they? And I was at Plymouth. I didn't go to Norwich because there was no way, because we had the Steel City derby at the weekend as well.
Yes.
Got back from Plymouth and then got back from Plymouth on the Sunday hang on, because again, this is where I don't need it, because then I will sit here and go, okay, so you travel back to Sheffield on the Saturday night, you then had all of Sunday where presumably you had the players in for rest, but then you stayed up all of Sunday night to do the work, and then you travel down to the hotel, and then the game's not till Tuesday. So don't get me wrong, whilst nobody should be working throughout the night and nobody should be pulling all-nighters, there will be a number of people who do. Again, the last thing that anybody wants to hear is people moaning about work. As a fucking teacher, boy, do I know that. Oh, I've had to go back to work this week and I've been working until 1 o'clock most mornings. Like, people don't... nicest will in the world. I don't need to hear it. Like,
all he needed to do is put on his CV, I'm a hardworking individual.
Yeah,
that's all he needed.
Quite literally that. Yeah. I'm a motivated and hardworking individual. And when someone says, can you give me an example? That's where you cite it. I understand that he will be hurt by certain sections of the fan base saying that he jacked it in. And I think that is where, when he's got more experience of managing at different clubs aside from just Sheffield Wednesday, I think he has to take a step back and realise, number one, it's all just noise and it doesn't matter. And two, how he came across publicly was very disenfranchised from January. I don't think there's there's no two ways about that. He mentions the Hull game being the turning point in his head. Well, I would recommend that he goes back and listens to the Cardiff post-match, because the Cardiff post-match sounded like he jacked it in. The Stoke post-match sounded like he jacked it in. And that's just from a perception perspective. He may well not have done, but we spoke on this very pod, James, of reports after the Stoke match of players digging him out for just that, for being less engaged.
Yeah, I think it was after the Stoke game, because I was away for that when I was in Germany, weren't I? When there was reports that people had, players had said stuff. I want to say Michael Smith.
Michael Hecker and Michael Smith had dug him out for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think at the time, he probably tried to do that to force a move. And I think, again, we've gone over this many, many times. I think any normal owner would have probably done that and gone, no, what? I don't want you here. Do you want to mutually terminate? Yeah, I do. Thank fuck for that. See you later. And then just moved on. And both parties would just, put it down as a bit of a, that were a bit shit, but whatever.
It ended sour, but we had a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll try and move on for it. Not cost us anything. We had to pay him off, and we'll find someone else, kind of thing. But there've also been reports that he might be linked with. Well, it's not even a job at the moment because Ruben Sellers is still there, but linked with Sheffield United. Yeah, I mean, there is parts of. I think it was Elliot that said actually, could be agent role. Get him in at Sheffield United and send him down. That would be a turn up for the books.
That'd be fucking magic. That.
Fist pumping the cop when he comes to Bramall, comes to Hillsborough, and running to the away end when he's at Bramall Lane. But no, that's never going to happen. But can you? It's two questions. One, do you think it would happen? And then I suppose I'm guessing the answer is going to be no. But like, could you actually see that happening? Like, because for me, I don't think it will at all. But like, people are saying, oh no, he was at Sheffield Wednesday. Like, look, Steve Bruce has been at every neighbouring club, like that ever is. Do you know what I mean? It's Sunderland, Newcastle, Wednesday, United. Like, do you know what I mean? He's done that. All right, maybe not gone from one to the other one, which this is kind of like that. But I didn't really get that argument that because he's been at Sheffield Wednesday, he's not going to go to Sheffield United. It's a job at the end of the day. He likes the city. He knows the city. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot going for just playing for the other side. A lot of players have done it. I mean, Max Lowe went from Sheffield United to Sheffield Wednesday. Like, it was all right for him. So I think I didn't really get the, people saying it's like disrespectful and stuff. You don't work for Sheffield Wednesday anymore. Who cares? If I work for Asda, I'm not going to go, sorry, Morrison's, I can't work for you because, you are our rivals and all that. And I don't want Julie seeing me because I had green on the other day, green Asda jacket on. And I can't be seeing green Morrison's one there. Like, it means bollocks. It doesn't mean anything.
Do I think it will happen? No. Could I see it happening? Yes, absolutely.
I think it's more shared on United. Them singing sausage roll, and the next minute is in dugout.
I think there's a couple of things that I would look at, and it is to do with the emotional connection that he built with the fan base and the wider supporters of the club here. that I would take massive umbrage with. Ultimately, do I think that he would be in a better position to ultimately succeed and play top-level football at this current moment in time with Sheffield United than he would Sheffield Wednesday? 100%. Sheffield United squad is a top-6 squad. It is. Yeah. The fact that it's being comically managed into a car crash at the minute is long may that fucking continue. But I'm under no illusions that come the next international break, if they're still below us, my God, I won't have stopped laughing. Do I think that Danny Röhl knows that? Yes. Do I think that Danny Röhl probably looks at the squad and goes, wow, I could have them playing exactly what I want and there's a budget there? Yes. Do I think that Danny Röhl would back himself to get them challenging for the top 6? Potentially top... I don't buy all this shit that United fans are saying, well, top 2's gone. No, it's fucking not. The top 2 is not gone. This isn't the Premier League where you lose 2 games and that's it, your title challenge is over. This is...
The 3 that have come down on tearing it up, and that's what normally happens. Do you know what I mean? So it is still wide open. Is it harder than what it could have been? Of course it is. But I think, was it Forest lost 5, 6, 7 games at the start of the season where they actually ironically beat Sheffield United in the playoffs and got promoted. So they were rock bottom. I think a few weeks after where we are now. So it's not it's not all done and finished. No. Would it hurt if you see Danny Röhl Sheffield United? I think I'm just past it now. I think we have got such bigger problems at the moment to worry about. Kind of, I know we're talking about it, but in terms of emotionally worrying about it and getting like upset about it, if you know what I mean. If it was there at Sheffield United, we have got bigger problems. I think had this happened 3, 4, 5 years ago, I mean, we didn't even know Danny Röhl was then at that point. But do you know what I mean? When we seem to be a more normal football club, I think it would have hurt more, but I really just don't really care.
Like, I don't know, mate. I don't know. I can honestly tell you, at this point in time, you'd be hard pushed to find somebody who's a bigger Danny Röhl apologist to people who dislike him. Oh boy, would there be a level of hatred that comes out of my mouth that hasn't been heard since since last season when Chris Wilder was in that dugout at Bramall Lane away this year with him stood there. Yeah. The reason being, it's not because I don't understand all the positives for him. I do. It's because we know he's good. It's because we know what he can do. It's because of the emotional connection that he built with the fan base here. It's because, yes, he dragged players by being technically a very gifted coach and organising a very good backroom structure. But it is also the bollocks fist pumping. It's also the bollocks running over and smacking the badge. It's also the, standing in front of the T1 North after his first home win against Rotherham and screaming to high heaven and all the rest of it. If he were to make that switch, this isn't like Max Lowe, where United fans think, oh, he's fucking hilarious. Like, oh, look at him going, oh, he's all right for them. But he was shit here, so it doesn't matter. No, this would hurt. Genuinely, this would hurt. And whilst I take your point about, we've got bigger fish to fry, we have. But that level of anger for 90 plus minutes, because this shit surrounding the football club will still end. There would still be a crossover where we've got things sorted and he's still there. James. It very nicely. Do I think it will happen? No. Would I be doing the pod on Sunday with absolutely no voice because I have fuck our lot? No, screw that. I'm not saying if I am giving 90 minutes of abuse to him stood in that dugout, and it would hurt him because of what he said in this article. Because he said, fans were making all these types of different assumptions about me. He's not stupid. He's been around the block. He knows full well that if he makes that, you've got to have... I mean this very nicely. You can't wander around Sheffield. You can't, because somebody will do something stupid. Somebody will do something stupid. You can't live in the city. Like, there's no way. And walking into Hillsborough when people were like, they're going to make it hostile for Wilder, and it wasn't. It was about 4 people on the underneath the Stouth going, boo. No, you'd get 4,000 or 5,000 people turn up just to hurl abuse at him. Just for the sheer fact of, you made us all feel something that we haven't felt as Wednesday fans when we were in what we all thought was one of our lowest ebbs. Yeah,
and it's not our fault that he's gone either. It's not the fans that turned on him. Do you know what I mean? It's just the manager that kind of he fell out with, not the fans, not us and stuff. Yeah, I kind of get that. I think more to the point, I'm just not really losing sleep. Maybe in the hope that it doesn't actually happen. But I think you're right in what you're saying though. When he is doing the fist pumping and the beating of the chest, and it's a United badge and stuff, you're thinking, wait a minute, I've seen this script before. You were doing that just a few months back. And I suppose the main thing, kind of why I don't want it to happen, I just can't be arsed with the United fans. I just really can't be. Do you know what I mean? All the comments that they were coming out with, and look at this, we've got him now, and blah, 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 blah. Like, your best manager you've had in years, and he's come over to Sheffield United. I literally cannot be bothered with it at all. There's a few comments. I'm going to read a few comments. Daz says, I think he would do well at United, better players, better infrastructure, exactly what he should have been given at Hillsborough. Liam says, if you can survive Wednesday, you can survive anything. Shows how low we are. Yeah, that was a quote in the Times article. Daz, exactly, James. It's a job. They say it's disrespectful because they wear blue and white into glasses. Natalie said Derek Dooley and Danny Wilson both managed Wednesday and United. Daz says, what happens if he comes back to Wednesday as soon as we get taken over? Would you accept him back?
Would I? Yes. That one won't happen. That one will not happen. That is like when people talk about Carvajal coming back. It won't happen. He'll never come back again. He will be back in an opposition dugout at some point. That is almost a nailed on certainty. Because
when we're in Champions League playing against Bayern Munich,
yeah, Barcelona, yeah, for sure. But it's again his job market. I think he's also probably had to do a little bit of humbling because I think, and again, I'm a big Danny Röhl supporter. Honest answer is I think he'd overinflated what he was worth over the course of the summer, and by that I mean. The last job that he went for, it was Wolfsburg, wasn't it? The job that he went for, the last one, and that was a £1 million buyout, and they went no. Genuinely, I think he's had to humble himself a little bit, which is why you see this article in the Times, because he knows he's not going to get a Premier League job. I think this time last year or December last year, he could have got a bottom end Premier League job. Now you're looking at a Championship job. You're not looking at, say for argument's sake, say Wolves sack their gaffer tomorrow. Danny Röhl's not on that shortlist. He's not. He might want his name to be, but he's going to have to work very hard to get there. Brentford is the only job, really, that I could see him getting within the Premier League at this point in time, and that's only because Brentford are very progressive and forward-thinking. If you look at like Thomas Frank and Keith Andrews, Keith Andrews' experiment will all go to shit. Not because Keith Andrews isn't a good coach, it's because of the players that he's got left.
Yeah,
but they would look to someone like a Danny Röhl and go,
maybe a Brighton as well. Maybe
100%. We can give you this. We can facilitate this. What we actually want is your ideology. We want your ideology for football because it fits in with our club model. The ones where he's just dropped and parachuted, because Southampton, going all the way back to January, Southampton wanted him because they knew him. It's not because Southampton have a footballing philosophy, because they've bounced from Russell Martin to the next person to the next person. Southampton don't know what they are. Like they were once upon a time a well-run club. They're not anymore. I think when you were talking there, James, and like when you were reading the comments from like people, like Daz and Natalie and stuff like that, and they were saying, like looking through blue and white tinted spectacles and all the rest of it, I do agree to an extent, and there's the logical part of me that goes, no, I fully agree. This manager got you to buy into him because of the emotion. The football was a byproduct, but I think we would have probably all bought into Danny Röhl because you knew he felt something and you knew he cared. That is where it is different. This is like you having an absolute mortal enemy, you breaking up with someone and them going, I know you don't like them, and starting dating them. And you think, there's a little bit of... Because there would, I know logically on paper it's a very smart job. He'd do very well there. But you have also got to have a little nasty streak in you to go and do that. In this city, anyway.
There's a lot of other jobs in there elsewhere.
And yet there will be over the course of the year. There will be a lot of other jobs that come up.
It's like he doesn't have to take that job. Like that is the other thing, isn't it? Like you don't need to do that. There are other clubs in a similar situation. And being from Germany, it's not like he's an English manager that and just he's got family over here. His family are over in Germany, so it opens all that avenues up as well. So yeah, it doesn't need to take over. Take the United job. That's not even available yet either, by the way. No, but it could be after next weekend if they lose on Friday to Ipswich, but we'll see.
Please, and Georgia shushes them all, please.
Oh, that would be peak. It's a shame Massimo Luongo's not still at still at Ipswich as well. Anyway, let's talk about the rhetorical question that I put out. So obviously we do not know at all, but I was watching. I think it was some other football fans of other clubs talk about kind of, their games on the weekend and stuff, and like celebrating things and everything else. And I thought, obviously we've been in the Prem a long, long time ago. A lot of our fan base still think that we are a massive football club and Premier League and everything else. And I go back to kind of when we were in League One last time, and it wasn't, all right, some really amazing things happened, Peterborough, Barnsley, all them sort of stuff. But we talked about it a lot on this pod. Like it was always relief that we'd won the game because we always expected to be up near the top. Both seasons, may I add, that the season we lost to Sunderland, then obviously the season we got promoted. Still people still see it as a failure that we didn't go up automatically in that second season with given the position that we were in. Yep. I was going to the games, I wasn't really enjoying them. I must admit, I was just, I would go in and it was almost like, oh shit, we're not 1-0 up after at half time. Like, we've got to be beating these, and we scored, and then you're like, oh, thank God for that. Not like, yes, get in. It's always like, right, where's the second goal? Why have we not put this team to bed? Why have we not beaten them by more than 2 and everything? However, it has been so bad. And there's points where people have been genuinely concerned whether they would be a football club or not. I'm just thinking, does this like level of adversity that we've been through and still through at the moment, when it kind of ends, do you think there'll be a point of actually we'll be a bit more grateful for what we've got? We'll be grateful for beating, Morecambe. If we go that low, Accrington Stanley, I don't know, let's pick a Burton Albion, for example. Do you see where I'm coming from? Our expectations are so high at this football club, and I feel like they still are, even, given what we've been through and the fact they haven't been in the Premier League for so long. I just want to kind of get back to just enjoying football and like a game of football without everything else kind of wrapped around it.
Question for you, James. How long does that feeling last?
Well, I don't know, like,
because that would be my rhetorical question that's followed by how long does that last before losing 2-1 in a close game to Morecambe? How long do you go, oh, do you know what? It's just good to have a well-run football club. And this is the duality of being a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Is we could get taken over in 10 days. We could. Simon says we could. We get taken over in 10 days. The first thing out of people's mouth will be, that January window can't come fast enough. Right, we can go out and sign all these free loan players to make sure that we stay in this division. That will be the first thing out of people's mouth. It won't be, let's stop. It doesn't matter if we go down. Let's restructure the club from top to bottom. Let's get something there so that long term we can actually benefit from this. Because I remember, James, when I saw that this was a question, I remember ringing into the debate show. Hello, praise or grumble. It's a grumble from me, Rob.
What number did you ring, Max? I don't remember any numbers, but anyway.
Yeah, I remember requesting to talk on the debate show, and it was around the time where we were all flapping because we were going to end up in the playoffs and we weren't going up automatically. I think it was just after the Shrewsbury game, and you posed a really interesting question of, if we were to not go up this year, would you be happy with clearing the decks of all the shit and completely restructuring, having 2 or 3 seasons down in League One, but then actually going up with a squad that is based on youth and excitement and all the rest of it? And I had the conversation with you, and at the end of it, I asked you the direct question. You just went, no, I wouldn't be happy. And that is where I kind of sit with it, is, for me personally, I take it as, I would rather go down to League 2, set the club up properly, in terms of off-field structure, in terms of training ground, in terms of stadium, and take 10 years to get back to the level where we are now. But I'm aware that I'm in the minority because I'm aware I'm in the minority about people who are willing to do something in terms of a protest about getting this ownership removed. I am in a minority. I know people feel very strongly about it, but their actions don't mirror that. And I'm thinking, if you posing that question, is the downfall good? I think the downfall would provide an excuse and relief for 9 months before we drop into League One and someone goes, well, Birmingham City got a points record here. We should be smashing these lot.
Do you know what? Whilst I think it's absolutely fantastic that we have such a big fan base that we do, and we fill out all the away ends, and that we do have, when it's good, 20 odd thousand fans. Well, actually, not even when it's good, when it's just not absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
That we have 20 odd thousand fans turn up to Hillsborough and stuff. Whilst I think that is fantastic, and it allow the atmospheres that have been at Hillsborough are far better than what they've ever been at the Pirelli Stadium. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen Pirelli Stadium could have been rocking, but I mean I could rock the Pirelli Stadium by myself. But I think whilst it comes with a lot of good, I think it also comes with a lot of bad as well. Not bad. It's more difficult. Like you're right in what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to speak to Bradford City fans, to be fair, because I always see them as, all right, they're not as big as us, but they are a fairly big football club. They've also been in the Premier League, but they've also been down in League Two for a hell of a long time. And they must have these, I mean, all right, I know they've got out and they seem to be doing all right. They've started League One fairly well. I think they're up in the top 6 or there or thereabouts. I'd love to know kind of what they think as fans. Like, are they in the same mindset as what we have been in, that we need to be back in the Premier League, or have they ever had a bit of a reset and a bit of a realization that that's not where they are at the moment? They haven't got them players and they've been out of it for so long, and also down in League Two for so long. Even being out of dropping down to League One. Right, we've got back fairly soon after, so we've kind of kept that status of a championship club. Like Bradford City have for many people have totally. There'd be people listening to this, and young fans going to Hillsborough, never knowing that Stuart McCall fell off the top of a car celebrating.
Still tripping over the bonnet. That's a fucking belter of a clip, by the way.
It's great. Was that when they got into the Premier League? It was, wasn't it? I'm sure it was, wasn't it?
Go on, James. I was just going to add here. I don't know. I used to know a couple of Bradford City fans. I don't know any anymore because it was a long time ago and lost touch with them. I don't. This is going to sound horrible to Wednesday fans. I would suggest that they don't have the delusion of grandeur that some of our fans have, because fans of a certain age have seen the heights of where the football club can go to. In my lifetime, we have won a major domestic trophy. In my lifetime, didn't see it, was 2 at the time, but we have won one. We have finished top 8 in the Premier League consistently. We finished top 4 in the old First Division, again, all in my lifetime. I would argue Bradford City fans, yes, whilst they are I would describe them as a big fish in League 2 and League 1, if they came up to the Championship, they would be, I suppose, this sounds horrible, they would be playing probably just above their level. In terms of, I think of Bradford City historically in my head as a top-end League One club. I know they've got a massive stand.
It's like a mini St James's Park, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's what I mean, is like they've got a massive stand. It's well supported. It's always been a well-backed club. However, it's not 28,000 turning up for a 12th place season finish on average over the course of our season last year. Our average attendance last year was just shy of 28,000. If we were in the Premier League with all stands and seating open, our Premier League average, and this is just down to Hillsborough can't house more than this, would be 37,000. I have no doubts about that. It would be 37,000 on average. And if you managed to sustain Premier League success for a while, there would be conversations around extending capacity of Hillsborough or new stadiums. That's what every Tom, Dick and Harry who's a new owner will come in and say.
Yeah.
I just look at it, James, and I am with you. I don't think it's really difficult because I also would categorise myself in this. I do want a complete reset, and I'm happy to sit in League One and League Two for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years if it means the structure is right. But the trade-off to that is if the structure is right off-field, the on-field success follows. And actually, would I have been happy to do that? You know, when we went down, Chansiri had the opportunity to do this. Chansiri did have the opportunity. When we were originally relegated to League One in the COVID year, he had the opportunity to push the reset button and go in a different direction. And now for us, say for argument's sake, to be challenging at the top end of the division. But as you rightly said at the top, we will go... I still firmly believe we'll get relegated this year. We will start the League One next season as favourites to go straight back up. We will. No ifs or buts about it. We will be the bookies' odds-on favourites to go up promoted automatically. We will also have an expectation as a fan base. Do you remember Darren Moore's first season down in League One? Like down in League One, I remember being away at Shrewsbury when we lost 1-0, and it was like they won the fucking Champions League down at Shrewsbury, and everyone was walking out the away end going, "This is fucking terrible. Oh my God." And it was like the world was falling apart. Because
I know I've mentioned Morecambe already, but there was a Morecambe game. Was that the first game that we lost? I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah. And we lost. I can't remember, there were Wednesday fans in the home end and stuff, and they like moved them across into the away end. And I want to say Dennis Adeniran scored in that game, or did he score an own goal?
Yes, he did. I was going to say Dennis Adeniran, I'm sure, made a mistake, but I couldn't remember what the mistake was, of whether he fell over his own feet or something, because I think James
Brown goal.
Did something similar.
I'm sure it was an own goal that he scored, and we lost that one. And it was. I think the Forest Green as well. You go back to that one. I think, in my defence, when you said to me that I didn't want that, we haven't gone at the time. We had not gone through what we've gone through now. I think that does change things, and that's why I pose this question as well. That in that, I think it will temper a lot of people's expectations. But I think you're bang right in saying what you said. Like, how long for? Because the first season, you think, just glad that he's gone, and it just we'll be like almost like riding on a crest of a wave. We'll not be that arsed about the results. It'll just be good that there'll be have you heard about that new fan zone's going to be built? Oh my God! Like, look, all these different things, and I've bought a shirt. Oh yeah, I've bought a shirt as well.
You bought a shirt. I've bought a shirt. Look at how good this shirt is.
Look at all these Adidas. Look at this Adidas. We'll get really excited about all the really shit. I tasted this, but it's an 8-dropper, John Smith's. It's a.
Have you seen them new e-bars? Look at them. Got Wednesdayite for them. Thank them.
Got served in 33 seconds. It was unbelievable. There's
and the renewal period for the season tickets, and everybody will relax because they don't have to pay for it for a 2-week window.
Yeah, everyone will be panicking. Everyone will be panicking around Christmas. They'll have money burning a hole in the pocket. Like, I've saved it up and it's not come. Where can I spend it?
Chuck that eating on. Get it on.
Point I'm making is, I think initially there will be just that kind of just excitement and buzz around the place and everything else. But you're right. Like, it will wear off, and there's only a short period of time where people can accept kind of not winning every single week, and it will be because the media will be talking about it as well. Like, a big football club, they're not really talking about Plymouth languishing down there because they've been champ, but they're not a massive. Now Wayne Rooney's not there, they don't really care about him anymore. Like, but they will be talking about Sheffield Wednesday not being up near the top, and the fall from grace and everything else. And once you've taken over that period before, whilst it sticks in the mind of every Sheffield Wednesday fan, it'll be long gone and forgotten about by all these national journalists that covered us. It's just another, they cover all these football clubs constantly. It's gone now. They're probably quite annoyed that they can't get loads of clicks and new members and stuff for talking about us anymore. So yeah, I think you're right. Like, it would be, whilst again, it would be really good just to kind of not get sidetracked by thinking about the Premier League all the time and stuff like that. I do kind of want us just to, I do want to get back to just enjoying football for what it's worth, and that just, if we beat a team in League One, just get excited for beating said team in League One, not just go, but we should have beat them.
I do agree with you. James, on that point. But I do also firmly believe if you want to get happy about that type of stuff, you should have supported somebody different to us, because that's not what... This football club has expectations. It does. The fan base, the owners, managers, wider public pressure, everybody... It pisses me off like beyond all belief, James, when we get on Sky, because everyone goes, it's a sleeping giant. And people, like, again, when I, obviously with the job that I do, I come into contact with a lot of younger people. They haven't got a fucking clue who Wednesday are. They haven't got a fucking clue. They haven't got a frame of reference point, unless it was like, you know, something miracle happens, like the miracle of Hillsborough, like where the whole nation stops and focuses. They don't watch the whole game. They watch the 20 minutes at the end of the game where they flipped it on because Newcastle West Ham was on and that was a crap game, and they flipped over to this, and then they watch the highlight package on YouTube the following day and go, oh my God, that was amazing. Or they log on to socials and see that Sky Sports are tweeting it out, and maybe the Premier League have tweeted it out. Again, it's really interesting having a couple of mates who are Bolton fans, because Bolton have seen European football recently.
Even like Campo.
Yeah.
JJ
Even
Kocher.
Campo, El Hadj Diouf, Nicolas Anelka. They've seen them all. Like, they've seen genuinely fantastic footballers pass through there. But when you speak to Bolton fans, they are actually really appreciative of the fact that they're a well-run club now. Yes, they would like to be winning more games in League One, but actually, their little meander down into League Two, the minute new owners came in, their fans went, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of this division as quickly as possible. We need to be up there. And then they went up to League One, and they weren't just happy as fans. They weren't just happy to be back in League One. They wanted to get into the playoffs. And it was... Do you remember that we played them late on? The season we lost to Sunderland. We played them late on. Elias Kachunga scored. We scored, and then they scored really late on. I think we scored through a... I want to say it was a Massimo Luongo one on the line or something like that. And everyone thought we were going to win, and they scored in the 92nd minute, and then Sunderland overtook us for fifth, and all. It was in that crazy period around Easter.
It was the guy who scored for us was Preston defender
Jordan Storey
one,
on the line, bundled it in. Yeah. But they were, when you speak to Bolton fans, they're still very appreciative of the club being took over, but they were, over a longer period of time, in as bad a situation and in as dire situation as us, they now expect to go up this year. There's no ifs or buts about it. Their fans are furious if they don't go up this year, and Stephen Schumacher's head will be on the chopping block. I'm just aware that Sheffield Wednesday fans, whilst I would love to just say, yeah, I'm happy with beating Bolton 3-0 at home, I wouldn't be, because I see us as this league is, for my conscious supporting lifetime, where Sheffield Wednesday have spent most of their time, I want us to be competitive in the Championship and want us to try and get into the top division. Am I fussed about winning Premier League titles? No, I'm not delusional. That's not going to happen. Do I want to see us strive to get there? Yes, and I think that League Two, whilst I do think currently in the owner, if he holds on, is a distinct possibility, the reason why I haven't come to terms with it is because I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think we're going to get taken over within the next 12 months. I think the lowest we're going to sink is League One. And the first thing that I want to happen after all of that's done, my hangover's gone, is I go, right, how are we getting out of here? It's not,
I just want to say as well, I'm not for one suggesting that we just accept being a mediocre football team and just bobbing around in the lower leagues. I just mean in terms of what I don't want to see. Like literally, like next season, like right, like I know you said like right, how we're getting out of here, but like just kind of getting annoyed if it doesn't happen immediately. If you know what I mean, like it might take a little bit of time, but rather than getting it frustrated, people just again start to enjoy football. Because I've seen a lot of people saying they're just not enjoying it anymore. There was a comment on the main show, I didn't bring it up, just saying he's not going this weekend just because he's had enough of it all. And I get it. Craig said, "Sod that. I might not have 10 years left. I want Prem within a year and champs within 3. We are massive." Liam, I think as a fan base, we'll be far more patient and willing to accept short-term pain for long-term gain if, in capital letters, we could see a genuine plan.
Now, Liam, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but Liam, I mean this very nicely. You're talking from a place of common sense and level-headed nature who follows this football club up and down the country. That is not the majority of Sheffield Wednesday football fans. It's just not. Like, they see a team either every other weekend and aren't invested in it in the in-between, or they see it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a season, maybe going up to 10, and they want to win those games, and they have to win those games, because if it's not, it's a waste of an afternoon for them.
Yeah, agreed. Right, let's wrap things up there before my camera shits itself, which I'm surprised it's gone through. It's done the first 45 minutes, so it's done the first half. Clearly can't do a full 90, but we'll give it another go. We'll put it some training in the midweek, and we'll give it another go next week out. You know, you never know. He might have got some extra fitness in the midweek games or not. I'm just bring this one up. Natalie said, I enjoyed it more when we were in League One. It's too painful to watch at the moment. Yes, it's more enjoyable than what it is now, but like I said earlier, I found it quite stressful. That I was kind of there was an expectation, very much like if you're a Man City fan, I guess. Like you just expected to beat everyone, not going into a game thinking, "Oh, are we going to win? Are we not?" It's like, "Oh, how many goals are we going to win by?" And when that doesn't happen, it's a massive problem. But anyway, no, thanks everyone for joining us on Extra Time. Do really appreciate it. Obviously, we're going to be back on Wednesday with the debate show. Again, as I mentioned before, we're going to have the guys from the Trust. I think there's going to be 2, maybe 3 other people joining. So obviously there's a lot of people that trust do all different things. It's not just one man that does everything. There's a lot of men and women that do different roles and things. So we're going to get a bit more of a rounded look, and I think they're going to talk quite a lot about protests, stuff that they've got planned coming up. So yeah, do join us on Wednesday for that one. I just want to say as well, for the Grimsby game, I know that's not until a week on Tuesday, but I'm going to be doing a watch along for that one. So it'd be nice for everyone to join me watching me watch the match, whilst you're also probably watching the match from afar. I might also, not confirm, but I want to get down towards the Bridge Working Men's Club as well. I know I've already been there a few times with the Trust. If they do something similar to what they did for the Leeds game and get people all down there watching the match there, then I might do the watch along from there as well. So if you're coming down to that, it'd be great to kind of have you sat next to me as well. I might try and get different people to come down and talk whilst we're watching the game, which will be quite fun. So yeah, I've got that to look forward to as well. I'll make sure my camera doesn't shit itself halfway through as well. That might be ideal as well. But no, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks to being Patreon members. Your support is I can't thank you enough for giving us the support that you give me. But no, thank you very much, and we'll see you all on Wednesday night.